Are you married to a businessman or businesswoman? Have you, by chance, made the mistake of discouraging the main breadwinner of the family? And have you ever experienced the exhilaration of seeing your spouse, who is that business person, who is just making things happen? We had a question that I thought was important for us to answer. And it was this: as a business owner's wife, what is the best way I can encourage and build up my husband? First of all, what an amazingly humble woman to ask that question. That's not a question a lot of people ask. I think I didn't ask it. I've been married to a businessman for a long time, really long time. Hans and I were 18 and 22 when we got together, and yes, he robbed the grave, and yes, I robbed the cradle. Neither one of us had a whole lot of experience in business. We eventually became business partners, built big businesses, millions of dollars, and almost ended up in a divorce over it. Not the way to go. Not the way to go at all. In the beginning of our relationship, I was the one that tore him down with my mouth, and he ignored me. Both of those are emotionally abusive. Then we soon figured out that this wasn't working, and that we kind of needed to change our ways. That's why I love this question. Like, how do I encourage my husband? Well, one of the things that I needed to learn to do and learn to say, even before I fully believed it, was to thank him for all of his hard work, to thank him for his commitment to the family, to thank him for how he loved me and how he loved his children, to thank him for his dealing with everything that doesn't go right every single day, especially taxes, the pressures of dealing with the staff, which are intense, really, really intense. The pressures of solving problems all day long. Get as specific as you possibly can. You see, when your spouse goes off to his office and building his business, or let's say that he is a musician or an engineer or construction work, when you don't take the time as the spouse to learn more about what they deal with on a daily basis, they feel very disconnected from their wives. And so I honestly didn't know how much pressure my husband was under until I found myself in a role that he had spent time in. Then I was able to understand things a little bit better. You see, I had only worked 20 hours a week our entire married life. And so working 20 hours a week, of course I don't have the stress that he had. With only working 20 hours a week, of course I didn't have the pressure that he had. With only working 20 hours a week and being totally in control of my time, based on the decisions of why I didn't want to work more than 20 hours a week, my children were much more important, me being the mother and the homeschooling parent and the one responsible for the household and food and cooking and all of that kind of stuff, because I thought it was important to train up my kids to know how to do their own laundry, to train them how to cook their own food, to train them how to take care of their own space. I didn't want somebody else doing that for them. I felt it was important for me to set that example for them. So I chose to work 20 hours a week. And why? Because I couldn't handle working more than 20 hours a week outside of the house. And I found myself to be one to judge him all too many times about his stress level. Instead of stepping foot inside of his shoes for a day, 8 hours a day, solving problems nonstop, solving problems with the people that you're working with all day, solving problems with the internet that's changing every day, solving problems with software that you just, like, you fix something and it breaks 3 things, solving problems with putting away money for taxes, and then the government making switches and changes and all of this kind of stuff. And then, of course, the uncovering of the attorneys and the accountants that gave really bad advice. The list goes on and on and on of all of the problems that my poor husband was dealing with every single day. So my answer to you, if you are that wife that asks that question of, hey, I'm married to a businessman, how can I better support my husband? How can I better encourage him? Number one, you realize the importance of encouragement, and that it's a wise woman that is building her house with encouragement out of her mouth. But if you really want to go deeper on this, get inside and understand what he's dealing with every single day. That's something I wished I had done a lot sooner. It is so easy to judge and think you have the answers to something from this perched up place where you're not having to deal with the same stuff that someone else is having to deal with. So rather than trying to shut him off and shut him down, that he's just talking about business all the time, why don't you try to give a true listening ear and to really hear the things that he's wrestling with and not try to solve it, not try to give him advice, but you being a sounding board for him to be able to just say what he has to say, let him be done saying it, and then thank him. Then thank him that, honey, it's worth it. Look at the legacy that you're building. Begin to cast vision in front of him again of why he even started it and reminding him of what he's really good at and what his great strengths are and that he will find solutions, that you're confident in his ability to find those solutions and how grateful you are for providing, for him providing for you. And here's the last way that I will tell you, the greatest way that you can encourage him is by not spending a bunch of foolish money. Show him that you value the hard-earned dollar that he is working for. Show him by what? Show him by declaring war on debt. Show him by what you refuse to spend money on. Show him by the budget that you're willing to keep on the food. Show him by the respect and the honor that you bring to the finances by not being one of those wives that's always blowing cash and is totally irresponsible. Show him the respect and honor by respecting the home. Yes, respecting the home. Respecting the space, letting him come home to a clean place and a hot, beautiful meal that you prepared in a very, very tight budgeted way. Show him by how you keep yourself. Encourage him by how you present yourself to him. Encourage him by your beauty. Encourage him by enticing him back into the den, the marriage bed, the den where love is made and honor and respect is shown. So, if you use any one of those strategies, it's going to help. And your husband will feel on top of the world like there's nothing that he cannot do. And together, you guys will build a legacy filled with wealth. Wealth in relationship, wealth in honor, wealth financially.